Hello, Women of the Channel Leadership Network, and welcome to another Woman of the Week. I'm Jackie Rives, your community leader, and today I'm very excited to be celebrating Marie Rourke, president and founder of WhiteFox Marketing. Hi, Marie. Thank you for being here today.
Oh, thank you so much. This is exciting.
Very excited. I'm really excited to get to know you better too. For those of you that don't know, Marie is on our Women of the Channel advisory board. So we are so grateful for her dedication to Women of the Channel. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. It's been quite the honor, and I look forward to just watching you guys expand and grow. Channel Company has done so much in the last few years with Blaine at the helm and taking it to all new places, and having your leadership on the Women of the Channel has been wonderful. So I'm very excited for the end of 2023, the rest of this year and the next year and all the time after that.
Oh, thank you, Marie. All right. So let's do like a dive into those icebreaker questions. So starting out simply, where do you live and where did you grow up if that's different?
I live in Eagle, Idaho, and it's very different from where I grew up. I grew up in Southern California. So we moved here probably 2019. So we wanted to get the kids back in school. We didn't want to miss a beat there, and the schools were open here. And I had family here already, and big fan of nature. And so we packed everybody up, and I got to be part of that mission, if you will, because typically we'd be on the road. And so moving was never really a great option for me because I was never going to be able to be part of the process. So that we had the downtime to move, and I was like, you know what, let's go for it. And we packed everybody up, and we took a minivan, took the hours and hours of trips across, and we got here. And then a year later, my mom came, and just about 6 months ago, my brother's been here. So now my entire core family is here. My extended family is still in Southern California, but
that's very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been great. And the kids have been doing wonderful, and they just have a really good appreciation now for Four Seasons. And, we just love every 5 minutes the weather changes. So you got used to wearing layers, which has been entertaining. But my kids for a while were those kids in shorts, that showed up in shorts when it was, maybe, 20 degrees, 30 degrees in the morning. And then I got to see it was kind of normal. Now I'm like, oh, okay. So that means we're local, because now it's yeah. So,
oh, I love that. I feel like you just shared a whole bunch of little known facts with us. So I don't know, do we have any more, or do we
little known facts? I think some folks would know, but I think it often surprises people when I can actually talk about the show. And by the show, I mean baseball. My father grew up with many different sports, Ironman kind of guy, but he was recruited early out the gate into the Angels, the Anaheim Angels at the time. And I think now they're the LA Angels. But anyway, he was recruited early. So I traveled a lot with ball, and I still have baseball in the background a lot, just for that comfort of the noise of the game, because that's how I grew up, was listening to the game in the field, sitting in the dugout sometimes before the game.
That's such a cool story. I love that for you. Very nostalgic too.
Yes, it's very nostalgic. And so I love talking about the show, and I love sitting amongst folks and hearing their memories, and, going to the Hall of Fames and seeing how it was done and how much it's expanded and grown, over the last probably 15 years.
Amazing. All right. Well, let's dive into your impressive background. You started WhiteFox in 2005, and in 2009, you inked the Twitter handle @ChannelPR. What drove you to start your own business and specialize in channel PR marketing?
Yeah, and it was just a really one of those neat moments where I came to work one day. I was working at Ingram Micro, and I was doing what I did, and I was responsible for a lot of the vendor, relationships from a news standpoint. I worked in the corporate communications team, and I saw an opportunity to really change and connect those conversations in the channel and make the channel far more strategic in those conversations, and just elevate those brands that were able to grow with the channel, for the channel, with the partners. And I loved the business story. I loved all the small businesses that I was able to work with. And I just saw an opportunity to add, right, to show up with more value for Ingram and more value for the channel at large. So I brought the opportunity to Ingram. I asked what they thought about it. And I had some really supportive leaders, and, they said, absolutely, but take us with you. Right. And so they were our first client. And then we picked up Enable, who continues on the roster today. And then the rest has been kind of, channel history. And we've just taken a lot of pride in helping people have the right conversations with the right partners at the right time for all the right reasons.
I love that. And I especially love that, as an employee, Ingram Micro was like, yes, we love what you're doing, and we want to support you in that. That's pretty spectacular.
They are the a huge corporation, but they have the biggest heart, like truly, like across the board. I mean, the relationships that I've gained out of, my time at Ingram Micro, which I came in there to back clean up for another agency that I was working at, and then they hired me in, and then I got to just be part of that culture, and they just brought me in and taught me so much. And then when I thought it was time to maybe like spread my wings, and try something new on my own, I couldn't have asked for a better team and more support. And just the conversations that I had with that team were just amazing.
I love that. So you've mentioned your opinion has changed on social media and personal branding over the last few years. How so, and what best practices would you share today?
Yeah, so I think it's just, in a nutshell, it started out a pretty healthy spot, right? It was a way for us to compete. It was kind of a scrappier way to get your brand out there from a company standpoint, and it gave everybody a voice. And then it just started to evolve, and it started to just get more about getting attention versus, giving attention, right? Giving people some thoughts. And that's where I think we are today, is where it's more of an attention grab on the people and the personalities versus actually doing well for the brand at times. So I'd like just to have people take a pause and really understand why they're showing up. Are they showing up because they have comparisonitis? Right? They just want to be seen and heard because they feel like they need to be seen and heard, or do they really have this yearning to give back and really push out contributions versus content, right? And I just think we've just overpopulated with content, and we've forgotten the why behind it. And so I think we've done that in professional branding, like as a company, and we've done that in the personal branding, where we've taken it too far, as ourselves, and put too much pressure on ourselves, and now we've been staring at ourselves on these screens for the last, 4 or 5 years. And I think that's just, that's done more harm than good in some cases. And so what I like to encourage is that show up, but show up because you want to show up, and show up how you want to show up every day. Like, this is who you are, be authentic, worry less about the likes, worry more about what you're giving, worry more about what you're sharing, and the opportunity that's there, not even to worry about it, but you know what I'm saying? Like, really just think through it a little bit more so that it doesn't have to have the pressure. I just think we've put a lot of pressure on ourselves. And I think there's enough pressure in life that we don't need social media to give us any more pressure, right? Say no to comparisonitis, you be you show up as your best you, and you're going to bring that good energy into the fold for yourself and for others. And I think that's where we just have to show up more personable, and not as a personal brand, just as more of a personable human, right? Just sharing our experiences. I often just a few years back, I don't remember where it came from. Someone said, I'm over giving advice. I'm just going to share experiences. And I was like, that is amazing, because you can't give advice all the time, because I don't know everything. You're only telling me surface level, right? You're only telling me a little bit in pieces. So I can share my experiences. I can provide maybe insights into what I've seen, what I've heard, how I've seen it play out before. But at the end of the day, you have to be willing to take that decision yourself. And so that's just where I'm sharing the experiences that I've seen on social media, on personal branding. And I do think there's value in it. I just think it doesn't have to be at the volume that people are taking it personally. And I think that we've just got to get away from that comparisonitis and just show up as our own brands, in our businesses, and what we can contribute to the conversation.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And I love that you just said share your experiences, because we don't know the whole story to be able to share advice, experience.
Yeah, and we don't have to have all the answers. Like, that's been really hard as a consultant, or as a leader. You just don't have to have all the answers. You have to have the willingness to listen, and then the desire to want to help, but you don't have to have all the answers.
Yep. Love that. All right. When you look back at the last 20 plus years in your career, what stands out and what advice do you have for the next generation of female leaders?
Oh, there's so many things that can stand out. I think there's just the channel itself has been a gift. And I think when you find your way into the channel, and I think CJ, the reporter at CRN, CJ Fairfield says this the best, is she didn't know what she didn't know, right? And she got in here and she's kind of found her home, right? She's like, it just has this sense of community that if you embrace it and you're lucky enough to find your way into the channel, that it just gives you a lot of energy that you didn't have before and a lot of insights about business. People think it's about technology, and it's really more so about business and about relationships and partnerships and mutual growth. And how do we go forward together, and how do we help the rest of the world, right? At scale. And I think that's just been a really beautiful thing about the channel for me is all the business knowledge. Like, I've got a master's in business from the channel, right? Over the last 20 years, like what to do, what not to do. And I think as the next generation comes up, the more we can pull them into the channel. Like, I love that the channel company goes hunting at the colleges for writers and, good journalisms. And they go hunting in the different fields for those folks, because they wouldn't find us otherwise.
Mhm.
So as what can we do? What's our call to action? Bring other good people into this channel, because it is a gift for your career. It's a gift for your person to be here and be involved and be able to be so exposed to so many different lanes. Like that, we always talk about, in the women of the channel, we always talk about it being more of this lattice versus straight up ladder, right? In your career building. And in the channel, there's so many ways you can go. I mean, you could start, there's so many stories of people starting as an EA or starting as an intern, and now they're running the show. They're the president, they're the CEO. They started in the mailroom. They ended up being, it's crazy the opportunity that this affords you. And it feels like a little bit of Mike Rowe-ish, from the standpoint of that it's really just, you're at work, you're doing this and you're learning in the field. And I just think it's a wonderful place to be, and a wonderful place to continue building a career. So I don't know if I even answered your question, but that stands out to me.
No, you did. I couldn't agree with you more. I could listen.
It's just a great place. I mean, the friendships, the experiences that you're going to gain, and everything is just a wonderful thing. And then I can't say enough about everything that you will learn if you just stand and listen, right? If you can just shut it up and listen more than you speak, it's going to just carry you with it, right? And it'll just take you to places that you didn't even know really existed as a career.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you differentiate yourself?
I saw this and I was like, this is funny. I really don't work on differentiating myself. What I really work on is showing up with the right attitude and trying really to work through my breathing. If I'm not in the right space, take a breath before I get into that meeting, show up with positive intent, always assume positive intent. I think a lot of times our attitude will impact what we see on email. It'll impact how we read an email. It'll impact how we read a room, right? And so I try to show up with consistency in that, where, people often, tell me, you're all smiles, you're always just so happy to be here. And I'm like, you know what, every day, that it sounds super cheesy, but Tiffany Bova and I had this conversation. When our feet hit the ground, that's a great day. When I can roll out of bed and my feet hit the ground and I'm still here and everything's present. And I know that sounds morbid sometimes, but I just think that's, you're here another day. You have another day to have a positive impact. And so I just find that, to me, like, it's all about attitude and showing up and how we can be seen and heard in a positive way and help others. Like, I had a really crap afternoon the other day, just bad meetings, things went sideways. And instead of moping in it, I actually sent texts out to my friends and my friends in the field and my friends, just my personal, like, high school friends, with gratitude, because that I knew would make them feel better. And it actually changed my headspace. So
I cannot think of a better place to end this amazing interview, with the gratitude for your willingness to allow us to celebrate you, but sharing your story and insights that you've learned in your journey. You gave such great advice today, and I hope that people will continue the conversation and share their tips as well. Because I know much of what you said today is going to resonate with many of our community members. And also, additionally, gratitude for all your dedication on the Women of the Channel Advisory Board. We really do appreciate you. So thank you, Marie.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I think what we're doing with Women of the Channel and the inclusivity that we're working towards and bringing in the allyship and all of those conversations, I think we're really changing the conversation in a very positive way. And I look forward to seeing us in December.
Yes.
In New York. It's one of my favorite times. I always block it on my calendar. I think the only time I think there was one show I didn't make it, and that was it. But I was at the first one many moons ago in the bunker.
I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. Yes, I cannot wait for December in New York just to see all these friendly faces again, and all the learning we're going to do there as well. So thank you again, Marie. We really appreciate you. To all our community members, this was your Woman of the Week. Happy Wednesday.